Welcome back to the demonstration. In this scenario, we are going to showcase how we create how we create skills in GitHub Copilot, which would help us to do repetitive tasks in a simplified manner, which we call them as skill. See, your organization will have its own coding standards, coding policy, governance, security policies, so many number of things. So, is it possible for us to define something like a reusable so that we can quickly execute it as a command rather doing it in a repetitive work? Or because why we should do that? Because people have to remember that prompt no again and again. If you are very professional, you write the prompt in a correct manner. Otherwise, you always want to follow the guidelines given by organization. So, how do we design such reusable artifacts? We call them as skill. Beautiful thing is that skill also can be created using AI. You don't have to necessarily create a skill manually. What are the skills you can think of? For example, I want to create a code review skill, coding standard skill, security scan, HA security scan skill. So whenever a person gets appropriate GitHub repositories or appropriate folders, no, those also can be shipped along with the project. That way, Visual Studio Code loads it, automatically reads the skills and execute them. So now we have one uh, very old project. Let's take one simple example of this. Professional REST services, which was created in the COVID time, just before COVID. So, COVID project. There is one more project, professional .NET Core backend, the A about to start, 2024. So, do you want to read the COVID or AA era? COVID project or AA era? COVID project will take it. Huh? COVID project will take it. So, professional REST services. So, it's a .NET Core professional REST services. I used to build 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It's a very simple project. What exactly does is that it has got .NET Core 2.1 project. So definitely it is going to be very old. Some of the libraries may be obsolete. Some of the libraries may be having some problems that require to be migrated very properly to the latest one. Or we may have to change the complete scope of the library which we depend on. Anything. So how do we add code review first, security scan to these projects so that we can get an idea what to be done. Then we'll go and migrate it to .NET 10.0. Okay. So I'm going to take just 45 minutes to 1 hour to see how these things really work. So it's a public repo. We will um, okay. So we got the migrations. Project opened up. Now in the GitHub Copilot itself, I want to create a skill. Create skill. Hmm? I would like to create, design a skill that that analyzes a given um, workspace and .NET projects based coding standards, and would like to follow .NET and Microsoft guidelines. Skill name should be HA coding standards. I don't have credit available. I use $100 actually, so it's okay. It is evaporated. That's fine. So let us create a GPT 4.0, 4.1 because that is 0x free actually. It's as good as free. But again, it won't be up to the mark of what Opus model has been offering. It's okay. I would like to design a skill that analyzes. Go. Now you can see that a folder created by name .github and appropriate folder skills. Then a skill by name HA coding standards. Always allow. It kept inside the folder here. Wait a minute. It kept it in the migration. Supposed to be migration HA2 professional register service HA coding standards. It's okay. We'll adjust. GitHub. Skills. HA coding standards. Skills.md. So this is the problem with the GPT 4.1. Yeah. Okay. Now you review this prompt. So don't go and don't get excited when someone says we have to build skills and all. Nothing but prompts only. That's a fancy name that your coding agents can make use of them. That's all. But the prompt is very structured. So I prefer you to make use of Opus models to create these kind of skills. Now, let's open a new session. New session is already there. HA coding standards. It didn't recognize. Huh? Delete the image. Skills.md.github skills. I'll close folder. Migrations. No, I think I'm missing something. Um, I kept a skill named HA coding standards under GitHub directory. Can you analyze and make it correct? Make it correct. Rename the file skill.md. Okay. Okay. Keep it. Now see there, it is recognized it as a built-in skill. HA coding standards. Can you analyze professional REST services project now? GPT 4.1, I'm not very confident about the coding standards analysis on the .NET project. Let's see what it says. Let's create a folder called reports. Can you, okay, so we'll add HA coding standards. Can you, we will use the same thing. Can you analyze a professional research project now and keep your findings in reports folder in markdown file format, so we can preview what is really. Now that particular prompt can be crafted by SMEs, people who have got very good experience in the technical architecture, so that it can be propagated to all developers. So any project that you create must have .github folder, appropriate skill folder, and then should run through. Now they don't have to really worry about the prompt, what they are supposed to be composing for the coding standards, right? That is the beauty of this. Analysis complete, reports. The findings reports has been saved in markdown file reports folder, MD. It went to the reporting folder inside the professional REST service itself. We do already have in the reports folder, no? Replace. So now this have got the coding standards. The way coding standard check has been applied to a .NET project by Opus, by GPT 5.5, by GPT 4.1, always different. 1 year experience guy, reviewing 15 years old experience guy return code. He will say that why variables are all, no, not correct. That experienced person has written. You understand the comparison? Don't do that way. So you should always use high-end models, GPT 5.5, 5.4. Below 5.0, don't rely upon the output. That is not ideal. Then why are I'm demonstrating? Credit limit only. All right. Now we got the one skill created. Now we need to fix these coding standards. No, one more skill. Let's go to now command palette, view Cloud Code, show Cloud Code, new session. I'll ask this guy saying that. I would like you to create a new skill, plan mode, new skill named HA fix coding standards, like the way how I have created a skill named HA coding standards. A given .NET project should be um, used to fix coding standards based on findings and reports available in reports folder. You get my point? Any questions? I understand. You want a sibling skill placed alongside which reads existing reports and the reports and applies the fixes remedian checklist to a target .NET project. And if you clarifying questions, how should the new skill discovered by which reports to apply? Use the latest report in reports folder, or user specify the report path. Makes sense, no? User specify the report path. I have the report and so okay. How aggressive should the rule auto fix behavior be? Save fixes only confirm risky. How should the skill update and report after fixing? Tick checklist and add a fix log. Submit answer. So use better model to design these kind of skills. And use always maybe a moderate model. For example, Sonnet to do the fixing and all. Because once the reports are available based on the OPS findings, Sonnet can easily fix it. Since we are not focusing on the Cloud code, that's why I'm not demonstrating how to create a Cloud plugin and all. Otherwise, there is a concept called plugin. When I install plugin, all the skills can be installed in one shot. So, but right now we do have GitHub folder. Most likely you will be having in your projects also. So you can incorporate these kind of folders. Okay, let us first read what it is planning to come up with before you take a decision to create a skill. Okay. Auto accept. Right. Now we created a skill. Can you use these skills that we have created? Mainly, I have been targeting to GitHub Copilot. A short answer. I can follow them, but they are not auto discovered by me right now. Yeah, because the Cloud Code has its own settings. .cloud folder, not the .github folder. So this is fine. So let us go back. HA fix coding standards, current professional REST services, project with the latest report available in. So skill.md in the HA fixed one. So what is it doing? This skill applies remediations from the coding standards report produced by HA coding standards back to a target .NET project, report path, and then project path. We already provided both of them. Validate inputs, parse remediation checklist, classify each item, decision points. So the skill is created. It's nothing but simple. Like I said, it is a markdown file which has got a prompt. Generating patch. I'm not very confident about GPT 4.1 way of touching the code, but let us see. Um, so we are using .NET Core 2.0. So we need to migrate. HA coding standards. Can you analyze professional REST services projects after coding standards have been applied? Coding standard fix have been applied. After fix also, if you say that the 7 coding standards coming up, then that guy has not done the real work. Okay, so do not have to create any report file. Just to summarize your findings. Here is a summary of professional research after coding standard fixes. All constants now use Pascal matching .NET naming guidelines. All usage application exception have been replaced with the invalid operation exception, improving specificity. JWT authentication is now enabled in the startup.cs file. But why it took a decision of enabling authentication? We commented it out. So it uncommented. The solution built successfully. There are warnings about out of the box. So .NET 2.0 Core 2.2 is basically out of the support. So vulnerable packages but no errors. Other standards, naming conventions, file folder structure, access modifiers Remaining items, SN can await usage.NET version upgrade and the test project additions are still pending. The test project, we have not done that. So that's what it is saying, it is pending. See, with one simple skill creation, we quickly found. Then we went on to better model to create the fixed coding standards. So the better model has designed the skill better. But only thing is that GPT 4.1, I'm not really convinced. So better you should make use of GPT 5.5. I will not be able to use it. Yeah. Or I have to load up more credit. That's fine. So likewise, we have to create migration. Let us go view command palette, show plot code, same session. Like the above, can you design another skill named slash named HA migrate net 10 to the current skills folder, which migrates the current .NET project to the .NET 10.0 target. List out all blockings before the migration really takes place. Once the user confirms, once the user fixes those blocks, then you can start migration. Or we can create two skills. HA, analyze migration, like how we have done the coding standards and fix the coding standards likewise. List out all the blockings before the migration really takes place. Once the user fixes those blocks, then you can start the migration to the target .NET project. Always take a backup of the .NET project to backup folder. Do you get my point? Any questions? How should the skill receive the target project? User specify the project path. Where should the backup live and in what form? Backup, project, timestamp, a file copy. Or zip file? No, a file copy, that's pretty fine. What is the blocker workflow when the user comes back? What is the blocker workflow when the user comes back? Rerun the skill, recheck blockers, proceed if clear. Generate blockers report, user marks resolved. No, first one. How aggressive should the actual migration step be? Use .NET Upgrade Assistant plus manual fix-ups. Manual edits only, target framework, packages, APIs. Okay. So likewise, you can create analyze SQL procedure, because sometimes your procedure will be having 2000 lines of code. That's what people have been expressing me. Some procedures and all is very long, 2000 lines, 3000 lines of code. So how do we modularize that? Given procedure, I want to come up with a recommendation saying that how to transform the project to .NET supported, because you will be carrying out a lot of business logic inside the procedure. So can we move to the .NET way? Can come up with a skill. But generally, those kind of skills should be agentic skills, not just a skill, simple skill. It's not simple prompt. Agentic way of doing that because it's a continuous loop. So create it. Let's go back and see that GitHub migration .NET 10. Okay. How can I use this skill here in Cloud Code? You can auto invoke with HA migrate.NET 10. It lives in the GitHub skills Copilot convention. Manual invocation is that follow GitHub. You cannot auto invoke with the HA migrate.NET 10 Copilot convention. My skill tool only auto discovers under the Cloud skills. Can you draft the same skills to .clot folder as well? Now .clot, so .github for the Visual Studio Code and .clot for the Cloud Code, .cursor is also present for the cursor type. Wow, it created 3 skills quickly. Nice. What we will do is that we'll go ahead with the new session. Now it is a new one. HA. Wow. Migrate not net 10. Oh, wait. Okay. I wanted to give some instructions. It's okay. I have loaded the skill to proceed. I need project path. Professional.NET series. Copy path. What else I needed? And I need a report migration blocker also. Okay, I'm entering that. Stage 1, blocker directory, blocker discovery. So now it is reading all the project structure. It's going to come up with the reports folder 1 file. Use this with the GPT 5.5, exactly what we are doing in the Opus model. You will be able to see that experience there as well. Most likely your organization may not support to use Chinese models. So GitHub Copilot can support Olama, where you can install local models also. So if you go to the olama.com, models, you can install some models like a Kimi. These are all open source, native multi-model agentic model, advances practical capabilities. So it has got the coding support and Quen 3.6. This is from Alibaba, Quen. So most likely you may not support this. You won't be encouraged. You can download the model, you can run it locally, and then you can configure the Visual Studio Code to use this local model. So your code will never go out of your scope. Stage 1 completed. Now we can see that the .NET 10.0 migration blocker. Wonderful. Now it says that you need to solve this in order to be able to get the migration successful. Project inventory. Okay. So let us now kickstart. To proceed to re-invoke. So you can create two skills: migration analysis, migration or migrate. Wonderful. Now it came up with the to-dos, what you are supposed to do to get this done. Now we can see the backup folder. All the code has been moved to the backup folder with appropriate directory time. And now my professional REST service is going to be rebuilt to target to .NET 10.0. Likewise, you can create a security scan, code review, OWASP top 10, performance bottleneck, SQL analysis, procedure to, you name, appropriate prompts are created. I don't want junior developers to do, I don't want the managers to do. Instead, there should be SMEs who have got very good experience in the technology, very good experience in the project structure control over. If they can create and pass on to the developers, then you will have a consistent way to get this done. Make sense? Again, it is a gradual process, not like in one shot. I have got GitHub repository which has got 500 folders. Each folder has got 10 files, 5,000 files. In one shot, I want to move. No, it won't happen. So, thought process is that you have to do step by step do that. First, trying to check that a particular project, particular module, particular folder, and the dependencies also. People who take the responsibility of doing the migration, they should have a better plan. For example, GitHub Copilot Pro will work for common tasks. You should not always use Opus model because the token will be hit very faster. Point number one, GitHub Copilot Pro, you should use it Sonnet model. Whenever there is a requirement for you to use Opus enterprise level, there is a feature called Enterprise Pro Plus. Enterprise Pro Plus. That will give you better premium support to premium requests. So people who are involved in this migration report analysis and so creating the reports, they should use this Pro Plus. I use Pro Plus. So that's why I'm able to use continuously heavy Opus models. People who do the work where we have provided the report, where you just go and execute them, use Pro, Sonnet model should be suffice. There we go. So now you see there with a simplified. I don't have to now worry about the complete prompt which requires for you to migrate. We created a skill, invoked the skill, it just did the work. If you go back to this professional REST services .NET restore, .NET build. Now there are some warnings related to values controller, missing XML comments. That's fine. .NET run. Professional product service hosting. .NET run. Product service hosting. Now let's go to the product professional service product service hosting CS proj file. Yeah, net 10.0 framework has been used. It may be trying to connect to the launch settings.json file, the application development app settings.json file, where it has got the connection string. Properties. Yeah, so this particular connection string, what we have got, doesn't exist. It is trying to connect to the Azure, which we don't have. So now what I would like to do is that the connection string in launch settings.json points out to Azure SQL. Can you move them to, can you move the connection string? Can you change the connection string to local SQL server? Okay, it's already running. Well and good. Okay, let us check things are working. .NET we don't have database called iOmega SQL database v2. So most likely this will not work. Why? Because we don't have the script to generate, or we should add the migration, database migration. That's fine. It is not throwing any error related to that it is not able to start because of the compatibility. It is now migrated. So if you follow these kind of practices, you can easily standardize, including security scan, performance, SQL analysis. I can easily say that, can you analyze the SQL script which is used in this particular one, and why is it causing performance bottlenecks whenever whenever hundreds of users use this? It will completely analyze the database, give you the report saying that this is a block. So the SQL fine tuning, performance fine tuning, you should do through a assisted way, in an organic way. How? Use skills. Yes? Any questions you'd like to ask here? No. So have the confidence level that this is the final verdict. Have the confidence level that you can do anything with the help of AI, provided you know how to do that. No, Ram has not taught me. No, actually, I have broadened your whole paradigm thinking. The spectrum has been very broadened. Do you want to do the testing? Should be possible. Do you want to do the design? Possible. Development? Possible. UI design? Yes. Code coverage? Analysis? Anything is possible. Do you know how to talk to the AI? Like I said once again, it is not always a greenfield project. When you open an new conversation, the existing project is a brownfield project only. So only thing is that you have to find out the right path to get the job done. If you practice continuously for about 2 to 3 weeks, you will have hold. You know how to talk to AI. You already got some lessons. How do I make AI ask me questions, interview questions? How do we simplify the way it asks questions instead of a paragraph spitting MCQ style? So these are the lessons. All right. So that's all I got to share with you. Now, if you have anything, if you have any questions, if you have any clarifications, uh, you can ask them. So now what I'm going to do, these folders, add to archive, zip file, store. Okay.